How do? Welcome back. Section 4 World Darts Championship, and then we've got all sections covered with a little bit of detail. This one's one that is interesting. If you thought Section 3 was open, this one could open up as well. You got to look at Michael van Gerwen, a player not quite in form. Gary Anderson, someone who is in form in regards to the numbers, but not maybe so much the results on the televised stages. Is this going to be one that suits him? Set play, World Championships, and of course, the bigger gaps between games. Ricky Evans had a good 2024, but hasn't had a payoff yet. Dave Chisnell's in a position where he could get in the Premier League with a bit of a run here, being just outside the world's top 4. Dimitri Vandenberg's had good TV form, but hasn't quite done it on the floor, so it's always one of a question. Callum Ridds has been sort of hit and miss at times, but when he's hitting, he's exceptional. Same for the form of Neil Zonneveld. So there's some real interesting ones in here, but I think there's a player in here who could go very deep, as I think the draw could open up for this player. Maybe one you didn't think I'd be picking. And this is how I see the early rounds go. Remember, I'm not going to put a prediction in for every single player. I'm always worried with the players coming from Asia because that is such a developing territory. So I'm not going to pick Chris Landman there. Also, Jim Long of Canada, a steady, methodical, but quality player taking on James Hurrell, whose start of the season was a lot stronger than the back end. If he was getting in the World Championships based on the back end of the year, he'd have been nowhere near. It all came early on his form. Jim Long recently won the Super Series week as well. He's going to be a tough nut to crack for sure. Jeffrey de Graaf, someone who's been improving a lot over the last few years. I think he's got a comfortable tie here. Jim Williams, someone I expected would do very, very well, but it just hasn't quite materialised for Jim Williams, but I think he's got a good draw here. Ricky Evans, we already said, had a great year in terms of the form, taking on Gordon Mathers, who comes back to the UK, and do you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing Gordon Mathers. Gordon Mathers has lost an extortionate amount of weight. He looks exceptional at the moment, and it'll be really interesting to see if the throw, the technique, all that sort of the same. Whatever though, I think Ricky Evans is going to have too much for him. Zonneveld's been in great form, takes on Robert Owen, who's trying to defend his tour card. I think there's too much going on here for Robert Owen, but we know Robert Owen has got levels and he's got gears. If he can find them, he'll be a rival. I think that's going to go the distance, that game. William O'Connor, Dylan Slevin, an all-Irish clash. William O'Connor, for me, is one of the most consistent, steady players. Been a professional for many years now. Has always made it to the World Championships. He's had runs to the World Cup final with his partner Steve Lennon at the time. He's had a run in the UK Open. He's dangerous, is William O'Connor. I think he gets the better of Slevin, taking on Dimitri Vandenberg, which will be a good game. And Callum Ridds has got his hands full here with Romeo, but I think it'll be Romeo Dunn here and Callum Ridds, who, when he gets in the flow, he just makes the game look so easy. He makes it look so good, and he had a run, didn't he, a couple of years ago, reaching up to the quarterfinal stage. There was a conversation about could he get in the Premier League. Maybe going to start rediscovering a little bit of that form. He's gone through the highs and the lows and the roller coaster this year, but I think with that you come out of it two ways. You come out stronger, or you come out a shell of yourself. And the runs he's had on things like the European Tour just show that maybe he's going to come out of this the stronger side. Back to the draw. I've tried to be a little bit creative in places here. Gabriel Clements is defending a lot of money, £100,000, a semi-final place. He could drop out the top 32, and he's going to put himself in a bit of bother here if he goes out early. I think Zonneveld could cash in on that sort of added pressure that he'd have there. Ross Smith has a terrible record at the World Championship. I think Jim Williams may be able to steal that one. No surprises in the seedings at the top half, and certainly Dave Chisnell I don't think is going to have too much of a problem with Ricky Evans, even though I think all the sets will go close. I think Chizzy's going to get over the line in that one. I do think Schindler will beat Ridds. Just haven't saved that in. And the shock for me there, William O'Connor getting the better of the UK Open champion Dimitri Vandenberg, whose season has been so inconsistent. Yes, it's different when he plays on the TV stages. He's won that UK Open, he's had quarterfinals, semi-finals, but where is the confidence? It must be draining at times when you keep going to events and playing the level of performance. The stats are down, the doubles are down, so I feel like he's going to be searching a little bit, and O'Connor may exploit that. And as much as we talked about Michael Smith defending, Gabriel Clements defending, Michael van Gerwen also defending heavy here, but I do think that clash with Gary Anderson would be an absolute classic once again here, but I think Gary Anderson could get out on top of that. I do believe somewhere, I keep saying Gary Anderson's going to go on a deep run and pick up a title somewhere, surely. Is it going to be the World Championship? Well, I've got him making it through this section, beating William O'Connor potentially in the quarterfinal stage, and which might sound bonkers, especially when you look at the potential run, Slevin, potentially Vandenberg, potentially Schindler, potentially Chizzy. But I've just got this feeling with William O'Connor that something's going to happen for him at some point, and if there is a draw where it's going to open up, it's this one. When you look at this, it's not really like you're going to get sort of one of those big, like a Gerwin Price, a Gary Anderson, a Luke Littler, a Luke Humphries, one of those real big power names. That bottom section is the one that is wide open. I'll tell you now, every single one of those players will really fancy their chances and opportunities. So with that in mind, why not take a little punt there on William O'Connor? 500 to 1 to win the title. I mean, he could go out first round, but I do think that his style of play, his consistency, you're going to get a little bit of play there with O'Connor. That being said, I think Gary Anderson will be too strong for this section. Statistically the best player in the world, and he has been for about 18 months. Can he convert that to results? I know a lot of people are hoping he goes all the way, hoping he picks up the World Championship. Maybe he does, but for me, I think he gets to the final at least, which I'd be love to see. But who will he play in the final? I think it's Luke Littler, Gary Anderson. That's my final two. That's my predictions based on what I sort of feel. I will be doing plenty more videos regarding the World Championships and everything that's coming up right here on Edgar TV. So hit that subscribe button and I'll catch you plenty more times as the World Championship season is kicking into full gear. Catch you soon.